Is 7:01. We are going to call this meeting to order. This is our city council meeting. I'm Kat Martinez conducting, and Chief Harris has agreed to start us off with the Pledge of Allegiance today. So if everyone can stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. All right, next up, we have approval of minutes for council meeting January 4th, 2022. Are there any, if there are any corrections, and if there are not any corrections, I'll take a motion.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes for January 4th, 2022.
I'll second.
All right, Brooke?
Aye.
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 Abstain.
Aye. Great, thank you. Next up, we have special recognition. Consider a joint resolution of the mayor and Murray City Municipal Council in appreciation for John Harris. Mayor Hales.
Come on up, John. I can take that off, but I can't take these off because I'll be in trouble. So, now who are you again? There's my mind. Look at him. He looks so proper, and he doesn't act like that in department head meetings at all. So, he's fun. I'm telling you. With John. So, all right. Without further ado, I'm going to read this. This is interesting. I don't know if I've ever read as many whereas as when I got those whereases a few weeks ago, but I will continue on with the whereases. Okay, here we go. Whereas John Harris has worked for Murray City for 27 years, beginning January 16, 1995, and has chosen to retire February 11th, 2022. And whereas John has held the ranks of firefighter, engineer, captain, battalion chief, deputy chief, and most recently fire chief. And whereas John holds a master's degree in executive fire service leadership, received executive fire officer designation from the National Fire Academy, and chief fire officer and international certified emergency manager certifications. And whereas John placed first in the firefighter team combat challenge competition 1995, first place in the Tackle the Tower stair climb 2008, participated in an Ironman event 2007, and has competed in 10 marathons, including a 100-miler. I didn't even know that existed. And did you have shoes on is what I'd like to know, John. Okay, anyway. And whereas John is artistic and made the conference table and firefighter, absolutely beautiful, firefighter tribute statue for Fire Station 81, entered several juried art shows and chalk art festivals, and played the guitar at the Senior Recreation Center Health Fair. And whereas John is most proud of implementing physical health, mental health, and cancer screening, managing the construction of Fire Station 81, implementing the STEP payroll plan, providing opportunities in the wildland program, starting a training officer position, collaborating on a fire department strategic plan, being the emergency manager for the city, and developing a portfolio program. And whereas, although John is retiring from Murray City, his adventures will continue as he has accepted an offer to work with the New Zealand Fire Service. Be it therefore resolved by the mayor and council of Murray City that the city expresses its most sincere appreciation and gratitude to Chief John Harris for the many years of service and contributions. Big hand. Okay, one more hand. I know Amy won't want me to do this, but Amy, will you please stand? This is his wife, Amy. So I know John is shy and doesn't really like to talk. Well, no, that's not true. Anyway, come up, John. You're standing further back. You need to get further up here. Okay, so we will sign this. I'm not going to give this. So when it's passed, approved, and adopted, do we do that right now? Or do I do that after John is going to give a talk for 15 minutes? So
We do it now.
we can do that now?
Yeah, we can do
Okay,
that
let's
now.
do it now, and then we'll have John. So we'll go ahead and have Brooke, or have a motion, and then Brooke.
Okay. I very sadly, because I'm going to miss you, John, make a, Anyway,
At the bottom.
make a motion to approve the resolution, a joint resolution of the mayor and Murray City Municipal Council in appreciation for John Harris.
I will second that.
Brooke.
Aye.
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 Okay. John, thank you so much for everything.
Of course.
Chris, come on up. Okay, don't take that because we need to sign it.
Thank you very much. As Brett mentioned, I'm very shy, but I went ahead and wrote a song for today. No, I'm kidding. Mayor, City Council, thank you very much. This means quite a bit. It really comes down to, though, when you recognize me for a job well done, what you're really doing is recognizing my crews that are here, because they're the ones who are doing a good job, and they're just making me look good. That's really what it comes down to. I think I have a few months before my New Zealand job goes, so I'll get a little taste of retirement. I'll be switching from one boss, from the mayor, to my wife as my new boss. So, but I'm looking forward to that. You already had you stand up, but special thanks to you for standing by me through all this. There's been some sad times and some great times, but there never was a time I didn't want to come to work. I truly am honored that you put me in charge of this fire department. The time that I've spent here, we've been through several mayors, several city council that have really gave the fire department a lot of support. And that support has enabled us to have the equipment, to get the personnel we needed to provide excellent service to the community. So thank you so much. I'm a little bummed that I'm leaving. I won't get to work with some of our new council members and with Brett some more. But I am leaving you in fantastic hands with Chief Middleman. He's going to do you an outstanding job and take the departments in directions we've never seen. So it's a very exciting time. I think I'll just kind of finish with, I was thinking of Ted Iyer, and I really enjoyed working for him. And I know he loved Abraham Lincoln. And Abraham Lincoln had a quote, and I'll mess it up a little bit to paraphrase, though. He said, it's just not the number of years you live, but really the life you put in those years. And I have loved my time here, and I've loved working for the city. But I just kind of feel like maybe there's another adventure in me. And this opportunity to go to New Zealand, I hope will represent that, and I'm just looking forward to it. So anyways, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Would anyone like to add anything?
I would. And I believe this may have happened at one of my first city council meetings or the first year or during COVID. I don't know. Everything's a blur. But I do want to say I appreciate what you have done for the firefighters and your crew in the conversations around mental health. I don't think we give credit enough where credit is due for that kind of leadership. And I really hope people can see you as an example in really taking care of your own moving forward and really giving back to not just the community as a whole, because it is giving back to the community and supporting the crew in their mental health. And really all of you that are here, I appreciate you. I see you risking your lives every time you respond to a call. And this is including our police officers. It's something I could never do. So I really appreciate all of you. And I know Chief Middleton will continue, those steps and moving forward. So thank you so much.
I just want to add that thank you for your service. You've been a wonderful fire chief. And I wish you were going to stay so we could get that electric fire engine. So have you talked to Chief Middleman about it yet?
That's on my to-do list.
Anyway, thank you so much, and you will be greatly missed. And take care and good luck.
Send us pictures now and then.
And we'll have an extra room. Anyone needs a place to stay, come visit.
Thank you so very much. Oh, we have somebody in the back.
Yeah.
I'm Joe Treadwell, and I don't know if you remember the movie The Shawshank Redemption, Red, who was the oldest inmate. Well, that's who I am. I remember 27 years ago, it's when we started the McGruff program, and we had the little sign out in front that said safe place. And we were told that if kids or anyone that was in trouble could stop by, we were going to provide that sanctuary for them. We were also told that if there was mothers that no longer wanted their children, they could drop them off. And so we kind of hoped for that, kind of the maternal instincts that we had. And one day there was a knock at the door, and firefighter Estrada and myself, it was a two-man station. We went there, and sure enough, there was this little baby basket with the little bald-headed baby, much like the one we see here tonight. And we took him in, and nobody came and got him. And so we started raising him and through the early years, and eventually we passed him off as one of the rookie firefighters, and so we take responsibility for who Johnny is and where he's at. I remember the early days. He was into the bodybuilding phase, and so we called him Johnny the Bull. He was very built and robust. Then there were the days where all he would eat was chicken and rice, and this went on for 2 years, so we called him Chicken Johnny. Nowadays, he's Vegan Johnny, and eventually he became Chief Johnny to us, and it was interesting because, you know, we were the guys that were there in the early years, and we watched him progress. And I think I speak for everyone in saying we've always known where John's heart is at, and he was someone you could approach. You wouldn't have to worry about retribution. You could have an honest conversation with him. Times we didn't agree, but we always knew that he was always thinking one step ahead. And he was quite a scholar and very progressive, and that's why we're at where we are today. So I'm going to throw that back on him. He wants to give us credit. I think we need to give him credit. And for that, it's been a pleasure the many years that I've been able to work with him and hopefully take part in his development. So Johnny, thank you for that.
Somebody take a picture of this right here. I want you to get a picture of this. So who's going to take the picture? Does my tie look good? Who's taking it? Okay, ready? Okay, so Joe and I graduated together in 1979. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, smile. Anybody else want a picture? Okay, anyway. So Joe and I graduated in 1979 together, and I just need to send pictures to my classmates to show how good looking I am and how he's pretty good looking, but anyway.
Thank you so much. I cannot follow that. So I will just say thank you. I'm glad to have gotten to serve while you were here and learned from your leadership. So thank you. All right. Next up, we have citizen comments. We do have 2 public hearings this evening. So if you wish to speak on a public hearing, wait for that opportunity, but you can speak about anything else for citizen comments. You're limited to 3 minutes, and you'll step up to the microphone, state your name and city of residence, and then you will fill out a form with Jennifer. So if anyone would like to have an opportunity to speak, now is your time. All right. I don't see anyone excited. Okay. No citizen comments this evening. Citizen comments are closed. There's nothing on the consent agenda, so we will move to our public hearings. The first one is consider an ordinance related to land use to amend the zoning map for the property located at around 606 East Sunnyflowers Lane. We're looking at A1 agriculture to R18 low density. All right, we've got Jared and Zach.
Probably. This is a relatively simple request at Sunny Flowers Lane. There's a small piece of property, just over 2,000 square feet, that you'll be seeing very shortly on the screen. But it's associated with, that's the wrong one. Keep going forward. Yep. That one's similar, but not exactly the same. It's a small piece of property that was associated with a very large parcel that's all in the A1 zone. And there's a small piece in the back that you can see there highlighted in blue, that the owner of the larger parcel would like to sell to an adjacent owner on the other property. And we need the zonings to match, not to put too fine a point on it, but we'd like the zonings to match. And the other property to which the little section of property you see there would become combined is in a different zone, in the R110 zone. In order to make those properties the same, we've requested this zone change, or the zone change has been requested just to transfer that property from one larger piece to that other piece. And it does need to match for that zoning to occur. The Planning Commission reviewed this in December last year. They did vote to recommend approval to the council. It makes sense for us to do this. It doesn't change anything realistically for those properties or create any issues. We are supporting it as staff as well. With those findings, it makes sense for the general plan. It's in the general plan, the land uses are the same in that future land use category. They're both in that low density single family category. So there's no need to modify that. And we are recommending that you approve that zone change and let that property be transferred from the one parcel to the other. Do you have any questions for staff about that request?
No questions? Pam?
I don't have a question, but when I was reading the material, was really interesting how there's historical trees on that property.
Yeah.
I wonder how you find it's a historical tree. I mean, how do they know that?
That's
I'm just
a great
curious.
question. And out there somewhere, somebody
Yeah.
knows the answer, and I'll need them to call in with that
I
answer.
just like,
So from what I understand, because all I do is watch like the not travel channel, but like all those nerdy channels like
Yes.
Discovery and stuff. I think they do. I don't know if they've officially done it, but you can like bore into a tree to get its rings and then you can date it through that. So
that was very interesting.
All right. If there are no questions, I will take a motion.
Sorry, it is a hearing.
Oh, it's a hearing. Thank you so much. It is a hearing. It's a public hearing, which means the public may speak on it. If you would, I'm killing Jennifer. If you would like to come speak on it, come on up to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes. 30 minutes? Three. Did I say 30? Oh man, you guys. 3.
I'll take a 30.
Jennifer wrote 3. 30 minutes. I don't see anyone standing. I've frightened people off. Truly would love to hear you. Okay, you sure? Okay. All right. Harry Potter's here. Okay, then I would close the public hearing and I would take a motion if there's no discussion.
All right, I will make a motion to adopt the ordinance related to land use. It amends the zoning map for the property located at approximately 606 East Sunny Flowers Lane, Murray City, Utah, from A1 agriculture to R18 low density single family zoning district.
I will second that.
All right, Brooke?
Aye.
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 Abstain.
Aye. All right, that passes. Next up, we have another public hearing. This is consider an ordinance relating to land use, amending the general plan from neighborhood commercial to residential multifamily medium density, and amends the zoning map from CN commercial neighborhood to RM15 residential multifamily. And this is for the properties located at 5322 South Allendale Drive and 666 West 5300 South.
hello. Good evening, council. Good to be with you guys tonight. So like you had mentioned, this is a request for both a general plan amendment and a zone map amendment to the general plan to take the property at 5322 and 660. I think it's 666 or it might be 662. I have it different on here. So it's one of those things. It's on your things right. But to go from neighborhood commercial to residential multifamily. You can see it here located on the map. It's just across the street from Smith's on 5300 South. So right now it is zoned in the CN, which is our neighborhood commercial district. That allows for things like gas stations, senior living facilities, very small neighborhood type commercial uses. Back in 2019, I think it was, Stellar Senior Living received conditional use permit approval to develop this into a senior living facility. Just throughout 2020 and all that fun stuff that we've been dealing with, they weren't able to obtain funding for that, so they are looking at potentially selling the property to Mr. Brad Reynolds, who would like to develop this into some townhomes here. It was also the reason why there are two addresses is that this was subdivided later on in 2019, possibly early 2020, to potentially allow for that senior living facility on parcel 1, which is that larger parcel. I don't know if you can, they can't see it. Here, I've got an idea. Laser pointer. Yay. So right there on parcel 1 would have been for the senior living facility. Parcel 2 would have been for the existing commercial. However, there was also some contention because UDOT is notoriously famous for not allowing accesses onto their streets. 5300 South is a UDOT owned and operated public right-of-way. So they control the accesses onto the property, and they just would not allow for it. There is I believe, I don't know if it's access from the road. I don't know if you remember, Jared, but access to, I believe, a billboard towards the back. That'll be that's what that little dashed line is there. Let's see. General plan, like I said, has it categorized as neighborhood commercial. We are asking to go to medium density residential, which is this color up here. This map, when I generated it, it hadn't reflected, but this property over here to the west is already changed over to medium density residential. There's a case to be made that some of these properties up here should be as well, as their existing uses are already that. Kind of went over neighborhood commercial. It's being used for smaller neighborhood centers along commercial corridors, and we are recommending that it go to that medium density residential. So a little bit of the zone comparison. So height in the existing zone is 35 feet. Within the RM15, which is what they're requesting, would allow for up to 40 feet as approved by the Planning Commission. And then, let's see, front yard setbacks would be 25 feet, rear yard, same 25 feet. Parking required. In the existing CN zone, there are 4 to 5 spaces per 1,000 square feet, depending on the type of commercial use that would be operating there. In the proposed RM15, it would be 2.5 off-street spaces per dwelling. That doesn't say that on there, but per dwelling. So typically that's when we're talking about townhomes, we're talking about, a garage and then a half space for parking, for guest parking, excuse me. The RM15 would allow for up to 12 homes per acre. So I wanted to make sure we did that. And then also I included this in the committee of the whole. I wanted to include it again. Even though we're not speaking to it an exact project, just the reputation that Brad Reynolds had, he wanted to include what type of project he builds. It's not typically your modern, flat roof style townhomes. These are typically pitched roofs, more quote unquote residential in style. And he wanted to make sure that that's what he's going to build here. Planning Commission held a public hearing on December 16th of 2021. 154 notices were sent to all properties within 500 feet of this property. We received one public comment who was concerned about the impact, but was not opposed to the development in general. Just is cautious about what's going to be happening on that property because he does live just across the street on Allendale. The Planning Commission did vote 6-0 to forward a positive recommendation to the City Council. So the general plan does allow for flexibility in its implementation. We've considered it. We've considered the potential impacts changing from CN to RM15. As you notice in your staff report, the various city departments have had a chance to review and make sure that the impact is, if there's any impact to the community, and there really wasn't any comment back from them. So with that, we are recommending that the City Council approve both the general plan amendment and the zone map amendment for the subject properties. I just spoke a lot longer than I normally do. So please, if you have any questions, by all means, otherwise just tell me to shut up.
Zach, can we clarify that is on the agenda, it says 666 West. That's the correct one, correct?
That's the correct one, then,
That's
yes.
Thank you. Oh, that was a great presentation.
Thank
you. Any questions?
A comment. Thank you for doing an in-depth study because since it is a general plan amendment, I just want to make sure that, you've done the due diligence, and it sounds like you have. So I just think when we do those amendments to the general plan that we make really sure that the infrastructure and, it can accommodate what it could possibly accommodate given that zoning. So
Perfect. Yeah, thank you
sounds
very
like
much.
you've done that.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. Yeah,
thank you.
thanks.
Zach, I have a quick question.
Sure.
On the page where it says Murray City Water, this property is only served by a 6-inch cast iron water main may need to be upsized to 8 from Murray Boulevard to meet the required fire flows. Is that a cost on us or onto Mr. Reynolds?
It would be Mr. Reynolds to provide that, any utility upgrades.
Okay.
So if there was any issues with, water, sewer, power, anything like that, those would come at Mr. Reynolds' cost.
Is Mr. Reynolds going to be looking at purchasing the Conoco that's on the corner of 53rd and 7th?
I think Mr. Reynolds is here
Is he
today,
here?
and I can let him address that. I know that it's been talked about, but I don't know if it's gone any further. But I will caveat that if he does decide to purchase that and wants it part of his project, that piece by itself would have to come back before you for another rezone.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Great questions. And I just want to say I appreciate RM15 as a nice buffer to the lower density residential adjacent to it. So I just think this is a great fit. Any other questions? Discussion? Okay. Oh, Rosalba?
No, I was just going to mention, I saw the Planning Commission originally when this came forward, and I always envisioned it to be this. So it's the right fit for that property and that space. But I'm curious to know how neighbors also feel about it, if there was any feedback there.
Yeah, we didn't receive any comment from the neighborhood, or that would have been in your packet if we would have received emails or anything like that. Like I'd mentioned, we only received one person at the meeting themselves there, and he was just cautious. He didn't feel one way or the other. He wasn't opposed to it per se because of the reputation that Brad Reynolds has in the city.
The only thing it's worth mentioning is that it is kind of an island within all this commercial development, and since it was a part of my district before, and now being Katz, I think it will help revitalize that neighborhood a little bit more and give a little bit more attention to that area.
Definitely. And I lacked to bring that up. I mentioned that in the committee of the whole. And I apologize. I should have brought it up a little bit further. That we as staff feel like this is supportable because, and let me go back to this general plan map. So you can see here in this blue section, these are existing single family homes like you had mentioned. They were slated in the 2017 general plan, or are slated in the general plan to be rezoned to office uses. We during the general plan process, it was determined that those may eventually move to an office use. And so we think that being able to actually bring this into medium density residential here, this will stabilize that single family residential, and maybe in the future when we relook at the general plan in 5 years or whatever, that those might actually turn back over to just remaining as their residential use. So that's one of the reasons why we supported this, because it provides that buffer.
Great. All right, if there are no further questions, then I'll open up the public hearing. If the public has any comments, they can have 3 minutes when they step up to the podium. We'll give just a moment to see if anyone would like to make a public comment. All right, it doesn't seem to be the case. What was that? Oh, applicant, would you like an opportunity to speak? Sorry about that.
I was hoping the city was going to volunteer and pay for those utility upgrades, but it didn't quite work that way. Brad Reynolds, 2500 East Haven Lane. We are very excited to have another proposed project here in Murray City. All of the projects that we have done here in the past have been very successful, and we're certainly looking forward to this one. We recently are just completing a twin home project just east of Fashion Place Mall with 26 individual twin homes that has sold very quickly. And I know as we were getting approval on that, there was a lot of neighbor opposition and concern. But now that we have completed that project, those that I've spoken to in the community have been very happy with our finished product. We feel like this project that we're proposing will be also a nice addition to the community. I've been building for over 35 years, and I don't think I've seen a time like this where there's such a supply issue, costs are soaring. I know at one point in the last 2.5 years, lumber had increased over 300%. And so it's a very challenging time for builders, but even more challenging, I believe, for home buyers. It's very difficult for them to find a quality, affordable house right now. There's just such a need for housing, particularly here in Murray. And we feel like this project that we're proposing meets that criteria. We feel like it will provide a nice transition from the retail, the commercial, the elderly care facility over to the residential neighborhood. To us, it feels like they're just kind of 1 or 2 streets on their own. And we feel like this will strengthen and solidify that residential neighborhood. So we're happy with that prospect. We do feel like this will be a nice addition to the community and will strengthen it. We did conduct a traffic study, and the traffic engineer is here, Ryan Hells. If you have any questions for him, he'd be happy to answer those. And I would certainly love to answer any questions you might have for me.
I have a question.
Okay.
How come Walmart and Smith's and all the other businesses can come out on 53rd, but your project or the project that's on 53rd and 7th West, the Ivory project, they can't come out onto 53rd, but everybody else can go on to 53rd. So I'm curious why that is and why we can't use it because everyone else is using it.
That's a very good question. I would
UDOT
love
question.
to try and figure out some of the reasoning with UDOT, but unfortunately, I do not have an answer for that. Sometimes it's very difficult to figure it out.
Can you go back and ask them, like, say, here's some cookies? Or, you know?
Yeah.
We don't bribe you that.
I think there has been several people approach them with various projects, trying to get on 5300 South. and they have been very opposed to it.
Any other questions about the project? Okay. Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much for speaking.
Thank
and
you.
We appreciate
I just
it.
wanted to make a comment. We're not considering the development at this time.
Right.
We're considering the change. Okay, just
Yes. Okay. So from there, I can close the public hearing, right? Okay. We're going to close the public hearing. And if there's no further discussion, I would take a motion.
I would like to make a motion on ordinance relating to the land use amends the general plan from neighborhood commercial to residential multi-family, medium density, and means amends the zoning map from CN commercial neighborhood to RM15 residential multi-family for the properties located at 5322 South Allendale Drive and 666 West 5300 South, Murray, Utah.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
All right. Brooke?
Aye.
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 Abstain.
Aye. Thank you. All right. It passes. We have a final business item on the agenda, and Mayor, that is your boards and interlocal entities.
Thank you, Kat. So these are some appointments that we made from the mayor's office, and with your confirmation, we'll move forward. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Murray City Municipal Council that it hereby approves the following appointments: Blaine Hackey as the city representative to the Utah Associated Municipal Power System UAMPS board, with Greg Ballon as the alternate representative. Brett Hales as the city's representative to Central Valley Water Reclamation Facility Board, with Danny Assel as the alternate representative. Doug Hill as the city's representative to the Salt Lake Valley Emergency Communications Center, VEC, board, with Tammy Kikuchi as the alternate representative. Russ Kakala as the city's representative to the Transjordan Cities Board, with Danny Astle as the alternate representative. Doug Hill as the city's representative to the Utah Telecommunication Open Infrastructure Agency, Utopia, board, with Brenda Moore as the alternate representative. Brenda Moore as the city's representative to the Utah Infrastructure Agency, UIA, board, with Doug Hill as the alternate representative. Councilmember Diane Turner as the city's representative to Wasatch Front Waste and Recycling District Board. Blaine Hackey as the city's representative to the Intermountain Power Agency Board, with Greg Braun as the alternate representative. Doug Hill as the city's representative to the Metro Fire Agency Board, and myself as the city's representative, Brett Hales, to the Jordan River Commission, with Kim Sorensen as the alternate representative. We have not filled the Representative Neighbor Works board right now. We're working on that. So thank you.
All right. Any questions from anyone before a motion? Would you like to make a motion?
I guess. No, just kidding.
Thank you.
I will make a motion to consider a resolution approving the mayor's appointment of representative of boards of interlocal entities.
I second it.
Excellent. Brooke?
Aye.
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 Abstain.
Aye. All right, and that passes. Mayor, do you have a report this evening? You're the mayor.
Am I the mayor? I keep forgetting that. That's why, it's interesting because you notice I had the hardest time when I was reading those. I couldn't say Mayor Brett Hales. I couldn't say it. I just said, and I just love Gary's new position. All he has to do is say, that's a great job, Gary. So I had it a little harder than you did, but whatever. So
Like I said, big shoes to fill.
Yeah. Big shoes to fill. I think you're the football player. But anyway, Gary, congratulations to you. That's awesome. I had the opportunity to meet with Gary about a month ago. He was going to come in, but there was a little COVID running around, and so we did a Zoom. And great. It's interesting because I hate saying this, but he's a great young man. I don't like saying young man because then I feel like I'm my dad. So anyway, and Mom, you can be proud of him. He's great. She knows that. So we're excited. You guys did a great job tonight. I was very, very impressed. Jennifer and Patty and the council, it was very, very impressive. I've never seen anything run that smooth before. That was impressive with 12 people. I looked at Brooke and I said, look at it was the 12 spots there. And I said, this is the future apostles. And she goes, she looked at me and goes, I don't think so. But I'm over there going, well, maybe in the future, you don't know. But anyway, it was pretty cool. So thank you. And the only announcement, where's Tammy? You bet there, Tammy. We have N95 masks that are available at the library. Are they there now? Yes, they were delivered today. So they've been delivered today. How many? 250? Excuse me? 2,000 from the county. Is that correct? Yeah. From the county. So we have 2,000 masks. As of this announcement, now there's probably 100 left. But anyway.
Quick question.
That's
Are
how
you
they go.
guys planning on announcing that on social media? Or
Yeah,
anything
Tammy.
else? Okay.
She's put it out there, but
I've been here. So
hey, that's okay. Yeah. Tammy's taking care of that. So anyway, that's all the announcements. So thank you.
Great news about the masks. Any questions for the mayor? No? Okay. Well, with that, we are adjourned, and thank you all. Have a great night.